We continued with the Church of Thyatira, and we started off with looking at what is so good about them. What does Jesus praise them about? And it seems as if they are squeaky clean. It couldn't be better. They are being praised for everything they do. And that seems to be including that their love for God and one another is very good, that their faith is strong, and that it is following the truth. That means their teaching is most likely on point, and that they have been able to mature people in their faith to such a level that actually they fully understand what they need to do, because they even appraise of their works that is now better than it ever was before. So that is a sign of maturity, that I understand more and more what it is that I must do as a Christian. And we know from various passages in the Bible, like the letter to the Ephesian church, that it is good works that God puts in front of us that we need to step into. James talks a lot about works that is related to our behavior and how we should and ought to behave as Christians. But there's also the idea that we have to, of course, give the gospel to anyone who is not a believer. And then once they say that they want to know more, we have to disciple them. And once they commit to Christ, we are here to raise them up as mature Christians. That is what discipleship means, and we need to keep that in mind. It's so important. But it seems that they must have done it. Also, we learn that next to making disciples, we also should take good care of those who are oppressed in society, like poor people. And we learn that very much in the parable of the sheep and the goats. Take a close look at that to get a better understanding what these people are doing well in the Church of Thyatira. That almost doesn't leave any room for anything else what could be bad in this church. But then Jesus, as much as he praises them, he really calls them out and almost rips into them about something that he is absolutely appalled. And that is not something that we as Christians would think immediately is a problem, because we want to be peacemakers, but it is one of these problems of our day and age. They are tolerating a specific kind of false teaching that, a little bit like in Pergamum, they were told that they tolerate false teaching based on greed. Here, that false teaching is apparently even worse. It is based on sensuality, it seems, but specifically it is leveraging in the reference to Jezebel. And we know that Jezebel in the Old Testament was somebody who tried to, and actually succeeded to a great extent, the nation of Israel to worship Baal and other gods rather than Yahweh, by killing all the prophets and basically turning Israel into a land, a nation that is not anymore worshiping Yahweh. So the idea of Jezebel is, and that's the spirit, the Jezebel spirit that seems to be in the Church of Thyatira, is that the environment they're in has been brought into the teaching as if that environment is okay. So basically saying, for example, that sexual immorality is okay, or eating food sacrificed to idol, which refers to partaking in practices that worship other gods. And those elements basically undermine our faith as a Christian so much that people are misled. Jesus says, they mislead my servants into rebellion. Rebellious acts that I said are sinful, they accept as okay within the church. Not everybody follows this Jezebel, but it leads to more and more people being deceived by that idea that is coming into the church. So the question is, Well, can we see that today? Does it happen in the church today, or is that only a problem of Thyatira? Well, I can tell you that we see in a lot of the organized churches that they open up more and more to the culture of the world around them. And that is specifically as a reaction of losing members to the world. And now they think that they can reverse that trend by bringing the world into the church and accepting things like all kinds of things that God would claim is a sexual immorality. And they say that we need to bless them, often under the guise of this is love. To show love to somebody who is a sinner is to actually embrace their sin. And of course, we know that's completely wrong. Nobody would say that lying and stealing is okay in the church. Yeah, that wouldn't be blessed. But we bless other of these immoral acts. And that, of course, is what Jesus calls out and warns us that we should be aware. There may be a Jezebel spirit within our community, our fellowship of Christians.